Hey guys, and welcome back to the show. So I think it's about time that we start to explore some sounds. So I went onto the internet and checked out a cool website called freesound.org, and I found some really awesome sounds that we can try and implement into our game. So we have the game over sound. That's pretty cool. We've got the jumping sound. That's quite 8-bit over there. And we've got the coin sound. So we're going to be using the coin sound for when we interact with the birthday cake, the jumping sound obviously when we jump, and the game over sound when we hit an obstacle that we're not supposed to touch. So first things first, let's bring these resources into our game. I'll put 3 links in the description for you to check out these creators on freesound.org. They've also got all kinds of other cool sounds that you can use with various rights, so just double check on that if you're going to be using them for commercial purposes. So let's grab all 3 of these, let's drag them in. Okay, here they are. Let's call this one S&D jump. Let's go for, well, let's give it a play. That's nice. Compressed stereo should be good. Coins is going to be S&D cake. Also compressed stereo. And game over is going to be S&D game over. Cool, so that should show here on the right. So there are 3 places that we need to play these 3 audio files. Change that to stereo. We've got where our dinosaur collides with an obstacle, either something that causes a game over or something that causes a birthday scene. And then we've also got the jump, which I believe is in one of these scripts. Let's see, ground check. Here we go. If the player wants to jump. So if we press the jump key or the alternative jump key and we're not ducking, wherever we set jumping to true. So the function we're going to be using to play this audio, and let's go through the jump as the first example, is audio play sound. Now we're not doing anything fancy in this. It's a 2D platformer, so we don't need to have sounds coming from different directions, different speakers, left and right. We're just doing the basic audio play sound. If you want to learn more about GameMaker Studio's sound system, I've got some various tutorials, links in the description. You can follow those and explore the audio system. There is a lot to learn. It's quite exciting. So the sound ID is the name of the sound. So this is going to be sound jump. The priority 100%. It's going to be top priority. I mean, we've only got 3 sounds, so they all can be highest priority, and it should not loop at all. Okay, so that's pretty straightforward. Let's save everything. The next spot, object dino in the collision with object obstacle. Here we have the birthday is set to true. So it means we're colliding with the birthday cake. Now there's only one birthday cake, so the user will only ever hear the sound once. Audio play sound, again S&D, and this time it's cake. Priority 100, loops false. Now let's scroll up here. We've got the obstacle, checking if the obstacle is not a cake, and this happens to be the game over case. So we want to go ahead and play the sound. Now we'll run through a problem. Audio play sound. Oh, this guy. This is going to be S&D game over. Again, 100 false. Now, so the problem here is we're colliding with object obstacle. So long as it's not a cake, play the sound, set some variables to true, and the user sits there until he interacts with the game, saying he wants to play again or not. Now the problem is this obstacle is going to be colliding continuously on that freeze frame screen. So we need to make sure that this sound isn't playing on top of itself. So in order to do that, we're going to say if, and we can use audio is playing, there we go. And here we just give it the sound ID. So if it's not, it's going to be the opposite of it playing, then we can go ahead and play the sound. So the other problem with this is, while it might not play multiple sounds one on top of each other because of the continuous collision, it will play another instance of that sound as soon as the first instance has finished, which is a little problem. But there are some variables in here we can use to prevent that from happening. For example, we have the game over set to true over here, which means around this area, before we hit the line 6, game over is actually false. So we can say, well, if the audio is not playing yet, and global game over is set to false, so we've got there not global game over. Then we'll play the sound, and then after that global game over will be set to true. It'll execute the rest of this code. It'll show us the game over screen, and the next collision step, it'll come back into here. But in this case, even though the audio is not playing, global game over has been set to true at that point, so it means it'll only ever play this audio once. Awesome stuff. So let's save that. I think that's all we actually have to do. We imported the sounds, we put them in our 3 places, and now we push spacebar, it's going to play the jump sound. When we interact with the cake, it's going to play the cake sound, which is this one at the bottom, and when we die, it's going to play the game over. So let's save, and let's run and see what happens. Okay, so here we go in the game. Jump seems to work. When we get to, I think, 1,000 points, the cake will show up. Let's try and not hit an obstacle just yet. See if we can survive. It shouldn't be too bad. Maybe we can decrease the sound of that jump. It's a little bit jarring. Nearly there, 600. Oh, here it is. Oh, wow, it worked. That's cool. It's like a little coin sound. And now if we die, let's crash. We have the game over sound. So that about wraps up the tutorial on sound. Now it was very basic. Again, if you want to see more advanced topics, links are in the description for that. As we expand on this concept, we will be introducing more sounds, maybe when the game changes from day to night and vice versa, or perhaps we can add a few more Easter eggs as we go. If you'd like to see more of these kinds of gaming tutorials and want to support this channel, please check out my link to my Patreon page below. Project files are also included, as well as links to the creators of these 3 wonderful 8-bit sounds. So until next time, happy coding, and I'll see you then.